Hey, hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel once again. My name is Solomon King, and if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing and give this video a huge thumbs up. Now let's talk about money. Yes, the British pounds here and the coins. Well, let's talk about UK nurses' salary. Today I'll be sharing with you real figures on how much we earn as nurses, newly registered nurses in the UK. So I'll be sharing with you what I earned when I came to the UK newly, before registration, that's before my OSCE, and after OSCE when I became band 5. Stay with me. Just to give you a quick background, the salary within the NHS is based on band scales, and it depends on the band scale that you are in and the level that you are on within that particular band scale. So as a pre-registered nurse, based on your contract, you could come in as a band 3 or band 4. So sometime, but rarely, some people come in as band 2, which is very low. I came in as a band 4 pre-registered nurse based on my contract, and the band 4 is more like the highest level of band 4. So the difference between my salary and the person who is just starting out as band 5 it wasn't that much. Mind you, this is for the NHS. You would normally earn more in a care home or in a private hospital. Alright, let's dive right in. So this is how the pay slips looks like. Alright, so starting from the top, you've got your assignment number right there, or your employment number. It's always assigned to you once you start working. And then the employee name, department, job title, your salary or wage, and the inclusion date. Now this inclusion date is the day that you start the contract on this particular band scale. So once you move to another band scale, your inclusion date changes. That is, once you get your OSCE and get your PIN, your inclusion date begins that day you get your PIN, and then they effect it as band 5. So every year on the same day you get a pay rise after appraisal. Alright, then location of the hospital and the pay scale, which is band 4. You can see that and the standard hours of my contract is 37.5, and my pay scale is on the 24,157, and that is tax office name, tax office reference number and tax code, and the national insurance number. Now this tax code is something that you should always take note, and then I'll explain in details about tax much in another video. But if your tax code as a pre-registered nurse or as a band 5 nurse is not this is the old tax code for this particular level, 1250L cumulative. The new one for this year 2021 tax year, starting from April, is 1257L cumulative. Okay, if your tax code is not this, then it means you might be overtaxed, and that would not be good for you. So you need to take note of your tax code And if you're overtaxed, check your tax code. It may be the wrong tax code. Alright, I will explain further about tax and tax code later on. Just to avoid any confusion, this pay scale or salary, 24,157, is cumulative for the year. That's your basic salary for the year. It's not monthly. So based on my level band 4, the rate of payment, as you can see there, for my basic pay is £12.3543 per hour. So for every hour that I work, I earn £12.35. So based on my contracted number of hours, I am expected to work 37.5 hours per week. If you multiply that by 4, on average I should be working, as you can see there, under worked/earned, you are seeing 162.95. That's the number of hours I work on average every month. I should not work more than that. Now, if you calculate what you work in a month and it's more than what is reflecting on your pay slip under basic pay, please, you need to talk to your manager. I'm expected to be paid for that amount of hours I work, and that is the basic pay that you can see there. So work/earned is 162.95, and I should be paid for all the 162.95. So normally you would see on your payslip that this work/earned is standard across board based on your contract, that is 37.5. So this should be standard in the NHS. It means that whether you work less than this number of hours, because I sometimes work less than it in a month, when I calculate my number of hours I work, it can be less than, but they will pay you this particular amount because it's already standard on your pay slip. So if your manager decides to give you less hours in a month to work, it doesn't matter, they'll pay you for this number of hours that you've worked. And that's the pay rate there, and that's the amount. So if you multiply the rate times 162.95, you should get this 2013.08. So that is it for basic pay. Now let's talk about the enhancements. So if you do a night shift in this 162.95 worked hours in a month, if you do a night shift, you get an enhancement of 30%, depending on the number of hours you do on the night shift. So now in this night shift that I've done, I worked in this particular month 36.5 hours of night shift. Mind you, 36.5 hours, it's part of the basic pay. So the enhancement will have to be the percentage of the night shift that will be enhanced. So for every night shift and Saturday that you work, you get 30% enhancement. So if you calculate now 30% of 36.5, you should get 10.95, which is how much they are going to pay me as enhancement. So you multiply the rate I'm being paid, 12.35 times 10.95, you will have this 135.26. In the same vein, for Saturday enhancement, I worked 43.5 hours on Saturdays in this month, and then 30% of 43.50 should give me 13.05, and that would mean that I get paid for 13.05 as enhancement. So multiply 13.05 times by 12.3543, I should have this. So if you add this amount up, the 2013 135 and the 161, that gives me the total, the gross amount of money I should be paid for the month. Now let's go over to deductions, as you can see there. Okay, so whenever you see payee that is the tax that you will pay to the government each month. Alright, now my pay here is very low because I shouldn't be paying tax at this time. I will talk about that again later as we go on. Now the national insurance is the NIA, and that is also calculated as part of your deductions. And then the NHS pension scheme. So based on the salary you are earning, the NHS pension scheme is calculated. So for me, I'm on the 7.1% at the moment, and it is not compulsory. You can opt out if you don't want it. So however, once you start receiving your pay, you'll be placed automatically on the NHS pension scheme. Okay, concerning tax now, because my tax code is 1250L, what that means is I should not be taxed until I have earned £12,500 in total. So I came in August, which is not the beginning of a new tax year. Tax year runs from April 1st to 31st of March. So what that means is, since I didn't come when the tax year began, I have to earn at least 12,500 before getting taxed. So if you come in the middle of the year and they start taxing you from the beginning, something is wrong with your tax code, or they made a mistake and they will refund you in the following month when you get your salary. You get that now. So coming down here, you can see that my gross pay in total from August till this particular month of this salary is 8,899. So it's not up to 12,000 yet. That's why I should not be taxed. So down here you have summary of your earnings and your details. This salary is for the month of November, as you can see there. And then on the right hand side you have the deductions and then the net pay. So my net pay for that month was 1,947.29. Now this is big because there was no taxation, but I will show you the difference now in the band 5 when tax entered. Now over to the band 5 role. You can see that it's basically the same layout, except that the job title has changed from the band 4 pre-registration nurse role to nurse now, and the pay scale description is now band 5, as you can see on the right hand side. The hours to be worked remains the same, 37.5. Inclusion date has changed because I passed my OSCE and it changed to January. So my inclusion date now will be 4th of January 2022. That is the date that they will review the payment for change of level. And the wage now, it changed from 24,157 to 24,907, as you can see there. But the tax code remains the same. Please ensure you check your tax code so you don't get overtaxed. And then you can see that it's basically the same thing. Basic pay remains the same as before. You can see all the other enhancements up there, beginning with the bank holiday enhancement. So if you work on a bank holiday, and for bank holidays you can check your calendar once into the UK if you have a good smartphone that brings out all of that, or you can check on Google. The UK has what they call bank holidays. Some are very specific to the UK. Now if you work on a bank holiday, you get 60% enhancement, the same way you get 60% enhancement on Sundays. Now Saturdays and night shifts get you 30% enhancement. And if you do a weekday overtime, as you can see down there, the last one there is weekday overtime, if you can see it very well. Now overtime it's not part of your basic pay. It's not part of your contracted hours. So if you book an overtime, you get paid for a full day and a half. So you can see now that the overtime up there is 7.5 hours. So you get paid for the 7.5 hours plus half of the 7.5. That's why you see that under paid/due, you have 11.25. So you have 7.5 plus half of 7.5. So you multiply the 11.25 times my pay rate per hour, which has changed from what it used to be under band 4 to this now. So it's 12.73. So multiply that by 11.25, you get that amount there. Now, like I said, bank holiday gives you 60%. So now for all the other enhancements you can see there, they are called enhancements because you don't get paid the enhancement for all of the hours for that day. Why? Because those hours are part of what is on your contract. So you only get paid for the enhancement, which is the extra percentage. So I did bank holiday 4.25 hours of bank holidays. Now I will get paid for 60% of that number of hours, which gives me 2.55, if you can see that clearly. So I worked 4.25, I get paid for 2.55 extra on top of the 4.25, which already has been paid me under basic pay. The same thing happens for the night duty enhancement. I worked 13 hours of night shift and I get paid an enhancement of 3.9, which is 30% of 13. So for those who may not understand their pay slip, this is important for you to just take note. The same thing happens on Saturdays. Saturday enhancement is still 30%. So the first enhancement I got there is 6.75. 30% of that gives me 2.03. 23 hours on the other one gives me 6.90, which is the 30% of 23. Now, for Sunday enhancement, you see 35 hours there. Sundays attract 60%. So 60% of 35 gives you 21, which is what you are saying there. So I get paid an extra 21 hours. Multiply that by my flat rate, it gives me that whooping sum of 267.49. This is why people work weekends and nights. Apart from maybe other things like they just prefer nights, like I do. I've explained the weekday overtime. Over to the other side, which is the deductions. You can see now that at this point, I started paying the tax. My Nigerian people will say, wahala be like bicycle. In this UK, the more you earn, the more tax you pay. So, based on my tax code, I am expected to pay 20% of whatever I earn in a month. But of course, that's after they've removed the pension. So you take away 20% of whatever you are earning after your pension has been deducted. The national insurance is what is there, close to the taxation. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Alright. Well, it's important that we pay these things. It's the reason why we have free healthcare. As many of you already know, it is from this money that roads have been made and all of that, the military and everything is. But the important thing is that you can see what your tax is doing. You go to the hospital, patients are being fed free of charge, morning, afternoon, night, and in between meals. You get the point. So I don't think it should be a big deal. No matter the cost of your surgery, including transplants, you get all this done free of charge. I don't think this amount is too much to be paid, really, if you ask me. So in the same way, you can see the summary of everything I have been earning to this point. You can see that the gross pay has increased to 15,000, over 15,000, and that is why I got taxed up there. So at the end of the day, you can see that my net pay is close to what I used to earn as band 4. But mind you, in this case it was taxed, Now, I know that most of you, in your mind, you'll be calculating it based on the currency of wherever you are now. I will say it again and again, don't do it. In my subsequent video, I will share with you how taxes are calculated. Why is somebody on 20%, another person is on 40%? I will briefly explain that. And then, in another video, I'm going to talk about the cost of living in the UK. Please, if you are new to this channel, subscribe. And if you like this video, kindly click on the like button. In the comment section, just ask me any questions that you have and I'll be sure to respond to them as soon as I can. Thank you for watching and see you again in the next video. Bye!